Okay, so here we have the exploded assets for the final build for assignment 2. These have been imported into Unreal. They're all ready to go, as you can see here, all functional. I'm going to show them off in Blender because I'm more comfortable with the navigations for Blender, so I'll be steadier as I set things up. But as you can see here, I've got the transparency working, I've got nice variation in all these. These can all be tinted as well. This can be tinted a different color, I'll show that off in Blender. And I've got these different stores underneath, all ready to go. So they all slot together nicely, they're all compatible with one another. I mean, you can even put this tall building on top of that building if you really wanted to. I think it would look a bit silly, so I haven't done it. But besides that, like, everything just works together quite nicely. So you can see here, I've got them all tinted different colors. If I want to, let's switch over to this one. If I want to make this one a nice green color, it's just, it loads in, there we go, nice green color, easy. Doesn't affect the windows, just affects the paint on it. And doing these ones, that one I think it is, yeah, that one. Doesn't affect the white either, so I can even tint the white separately if I want, and the windows, it's whatever I want to do with it. I'm really happy with how that came out because I wasn't sure how the tinting would quite work. I was afraid that these would all tint the same if I put them on the same UV map. I wasn't entirely confident that I'd be able to pull it off, but I've managed to do it. I'm quite happy with it. It means that there's added variation, so you're not having the same repeated colors over and over and over. You could have all these white, you could have one discolored, whatever you want to do. Like, it's very modular. I'll also do a demonstration of how these can be assembled in a various different configurations. So I'll just grab this. Just grab any of the shops, any of the pieces, and I like that one. Whoops, I'll just duplicate it. And it's just simple. They all just work. Grab that one too. I did take a few artistic licenses, I guess. I made a few shortcuts on the build. In the original artwork, these had support struts underneath them, but in order to just simplify it, I enlarged them so that they just nestle right into the piece there, just to simplify things. Of course, put that in there, and it's done. I have one building. Then I can duplicate this one, pull that out, grab this one. They all just work. I know this is largely unnecessary for me to show this off because you can probably see this already. But I'm quite happy with how it came out. So I'll set that to render in the background. Actually, I'll hide all of the other ones, just so it makes a nice render scene. I can get rid of all those. I think that's all of them. Most of them. There we go. Okay, so we'll let that render out while I talk. So yeah, I learned quite a few things when I was building this. How to do stacked UV maps so they all share the same texture, how to set up tintable textures. I learned some new tricks for normal mapping, and as I said in the original video when I was figuring out how I was going to build this, I had no idea how to do foliage at all. I shouldn't say at all. I had a fair idea of how it could be done. I had just never experimented with it. So the foliage that you see up the top there is the result of my experimentations. It wasn't based on any research or anything like that. It was just from my own experience from playing games like Minecraft and whatnot, where I've seen the very simplistic multi-plane design that they have for the foliage, and I just kind of copied that and made my own variation of it. I might zoom in a little since I'm talking about this. Just made my own variation of it and just dropped it in there, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I'm very happy. Actually, it looks like an actual tree, which is nice. I didn't think I'd be able to get a tree looking this nice at all. I thought it would look quite shoddy, but it's good. So with that done, I don't know. In the original video, I did talk about adding in extra details, like little aircon units, signs, street assets and whatnot. Unfortunately, I ran out of time, and if I had more time, I would love to do that. And I think I'll go ahead and do this after the assignment, because I kind of want to keep work on this. I'm quite proud of how this turned out, but it looks very plain at the moment. It really needs those extra details like the signs, the aircon units, just bits of paper stuck to the walls. I could do that all on the same UV map with just lots of different assets and just sort of drop them around a bit. And I think that would add a lot of life to the scene and really bring out the modular nature of this, because it's pretty good so far. Like, you've got 6 different stores and all these different little assets to plug and play around with, but they do look a bit same without all the little details on them. And I did have to sacrifice those little details in order to have really compressed texture maps. That was a choice that I decided to do. I consciously made that choice because I didn't like the idea of having 16 different texture maps for each and every one of these. If I had have done it that way, if I had have gone down the route of each asset had its own texture map, I would have been able to put in really nice details on the textures. But it didn't make any sense from a optimization standpoint. It was very unoptimized, it was very messy, and it was going to be a pain to bring into Unreal. So in the end, I compressed them all down into 4 textures, and there is still room on those. So I might even be able to add in these extra little details like the flyers stuck to the wall and stains and cracks and stuff like that. I might be able to add that in and then slot those details into the existing UV maps, because there is plenty of room to play around. But unfortunately, I ran out of time, so I wasn't able to do it for this assignment. But I am looking forward to doing this on my own time so that I can learn some more, because this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this. It was something different, and it forced me to pick up stuff that I had been meaning to learn for a while, but never quite had any reason to. Like, the foliage is a good example. There are quite a few times in my own builds where I could have used foliage, but I sort of steered around it because I didn't know how to do it, and I couldn't be bothered learning. But because I needed foliage in this, I had to learn it, and now that I've learned it, I can use it elsewhere, and that was fantastic. I absolutely love it. But yeah, hopefully this covers everything for the build. I think I covered everything else, all the issues and sort of documentation, I guess, step-by-steps that I went through during the process. That's all covered on Tumblr. There's like 4 or 5 different posts. I'll be sure to link them all in the submission on Blackboard, but keep an eye out for those because they are all there. I go over things like how I managed to build the foliage, the UV maps, the issues I had there, the tinting, the materials, all sorts of stuff like that. Problems I had in Unreal, things like that. And I documented most of the issues I had and most of the things I learned. I did miss a few, unfortunately, because I just wasn't paying attention enough to grab screenshots before. I only got the screenshots after, and they're not much use without any context of what it was like before, unfortunately. So I didn't include everything that I could have, but most of it's there. Enough of it's there to show the process, I hope. But anyway, that's all done.